One of the reasons why we don't have what we want is because we don't stick to what we ask for. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Progress on Purpose podcast. We are a community of people who seek to be intentional about how we think and behave towards an intended goal. We believe that what we say, think, and do governs our ability to make progress towards our goal and ultimately lead to success. So in simple terms, it's the action of being intentional and making progress on purpose. So if you are tuning in on Instagram, thank you so much. I just decided to make this a live recording, and I'm thinking about doing it a little bit more often. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. I am so happy to have another purposeful episode to give to you. So stay tuned because it's going to be amazing. But just a couple of announcements really quickly. I actually launched the website. I know I've been speaking about it for the last couple of weeks. It is filled with some links to the show. I even have some t-shirts on there, and I'm going to be adding more, so tune into that. As well as there are blogs on episode topics, so you make sure you go to makeprogressonpurpose.com to check it out. That's www.makeprogressonpurpose.com. And I've been saying for a couple of weeks now that I am launching a YouTube channel, and that is going to be coming very soon as well. The other thing I want to remind you or tell you if this is your first time tuning in is that I am looking for businesses that would like to get in front of this audience. And so if you have a business and you want to be highlighted on the show for your business, please send me a DM to Progress on Purpose Podcast, or you can send me an email at progressonpurposepodcast@gmail.com. I would love to spotlight your business. I'm not asking for anything. I just want to share you with the world. Okay? But let's get right on into this episode. So the topic is the reason why you don't have what you want yet, okay? And if you're like me, at some point in life, you find yourself wishing and wanting for something, even praying like, God, why don't I have XYZ? Wanting something that you, or desiring something that you have wanted for a while, and you, for whatever reason, don't seem to manifest it. There's a reason for that. And we're going to get into that today. So if you can't seem to figure out why it's working, whether there's a roadblock somewhere, there is a reason. So let's talk about it. One of the reasons why we don't have what we want is because we don't stick to what we ask for. So if we look, I like to use the Bible as a reference. And so when I look at the Bible, I noticed, I didn't look at it like that, but I did my research and realized that there are over 600 references to the word speak in the Bible. And speech is literally the conduit through which the world was created and everything within it was established. You look at Genesis chapter 1, God spoke something into existence. He spoke the world, he spoke people, all of that into existence, and then he gave it a name. And there's so much in that, because if you think about it, it shows us that our speech is really powerful. When God spoke something into existence, that thing was there. And then what he did was he established it by giving it a name. In Proverbs 18:21, we know that death and life is in the power of the tongue. I'm going to say that again because I was stuttering. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it and indulge in it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words. Let's break that down a little bit because there's a lot in there. And what I'm realizing is that we have a choice to make. We have a choice whether or not we're going to speak death or we're going to speak life. And one of the reasons, like I was saying, that we don't have what we want is because we haven't chosen whether or not we want to speak death to a situation or we want to speak life to a situation. We'll find ourselves wishing and wanting for something, and then later on down the line complaining about it, or having, different thoughts about it. And what we have to come to realize is our words are so powerful. So the minute that we say something or we ask God for something, God hears that, and He's put it in motion to make it happen. And so we can't then kill it with our words. We can't then go back on it and even curse it or say something against it, because when we do that, we're no longer putting it into action anymore. We've actually stopped it. So we got to be very, very careful that when we ask for something, when we speak something, we have to stick to it. I have been doing a lot of YouTube watching. I love to watch different people who are all into personal development and all about, growth. And one of the things that they all say is how important our words are, how important it is to set intentions, how important it is to be mindful of the things that we say. Because when we say, or when we speak something positively, we don't want to then go back and backtrack and say, oh, but, we're almost saying oh, God, I want you to do this, but if you don't want to do it, that's okay too. Make a decision. Make a decision. And the most powerful people in the world, the go-getters in the world, the people who have accomplished and have amassed great riches or success in whatever way, shape, or form, they made a decision. Imagine if Beyonce, I love to use Beyonce as an example. Imagine if she, said when she was growing up, I want to be, this great entertainer, but then she backpedaled on her words. Had she done that, had she backpedaled on her words, she never would have put in the time, the grit, the energy, and everything else that was needed to be able to do the things that she did. Let us not forget that we are made in the image of God and in His likeness. So this means that we have the same authority and power to speak things into existence and to establish them. And again, that's good or bad. So we want to be mindful that the things that we ask for, the things that we say, the things that we speak, we are not speaking negatively or speaking negative things into existence. We really got to pay attention to the words that come out of our mouths. Even do an exercise this week. For the rest of this week, pay attention to the things that you say and even how you respond to a certain situation. And take note of whether or not your response is positive or negative. Take note whether or not, even when you first wake up in the morning, what's going on through your mind? Are you saying, oh, this is going to be a long day? Or are you commanding your day? And there is a great difference. Your body literally responds to your thoughts and your words. So if you are not speaking well, if you are not intending well, even in your mind, speaking to your spirit in your mind, that literally has an effect on your day. So we have to be mindful and careful that we don't curse our day when we first wake up just because we're not mindful of our words. We really have to be careful of that. And I know I'm dragging it. I know I'm saying I spent the last 8 minutes or so talking about it, but it's so important because our words this year alone, at the beginning of the year, I told myself, even prayed for mentorship, and I asked God to give me or surround me with people that I can look up to for guidance and learn from in the specific area that I'm trying to go into. And because I spoke it, it's coming to pass. God tells us that we can have anything that we ask for in his name. And because sometimes we ask for things and we don't see them, we tend to no longer believe that that is true. But God's word is true, and we got to stand on it. And when you speak something, don't take it back. It's just that simple. So the second reason why we don't have what we want is because of this whole concept of goals and accountability. This whole concept of goals and accountability, right? All the time I set goals, right? I literally got a pad, my daily planner, where I'll set out my intentions. I'll set out the things that I want to do. Sometimes I even use the daily intentions tracker that I created. And one of the things I notice is most of the time I'll get like the things that are priorities done, but then sometimes the other stuff I notice it has to go on to the next day. And so what I'm realizing is that my goal setting is not, it could be better. I could be more intentional with my goals. And I'll give an example. Many of us have heard of SMART goals, right? SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So a lot of the time, I'll write down what it is that I want to accomplish in that day. But then I'll prioritize I'll have my top 3 or top 4, and I'll put the time next to those. But the rest of the ones that's on the sheet, I don't put a time next to. So you know what happens? I get the top 3 done, and then my day goes willy-nilly from there because I didn't set a specific or time limit on the rest of them. And we have to treat, if we have certain things that we want to do in a day, we have to treat all of them equally. Even though some are priority, we still want to get the rest of the things accomplished because tomorrow's going to bring its own set of things that we need to do, right? So we have to be mindful that we set SMART goals to even the ones that don't seem so high on the priority list. So that was major for me. I know even today, what I did differently was I wrote down all the stuff that I needed to do, and I put a time limit next to it. So I put the exact time that I was going to do it. And I even put down how long it took, or how long it would take rather. How long it would take for it to get done. So it allowed me to then plan out my day. And I did it last night so that when I woke up this morning, I could just get the ball running and, hit the ground. So that's one way to hold yourself accountable, by writing out your goals or writing out your tasks that you need to do and then get them done. And if you need a little help with that, I got you. I made a daily intentions tracker. If you click on the link in my bio, it is, and this is on Instagram, it's going to be one of the links in my link tree for you to download a free daily intentions planner. So that you can use if you don't have a planner that's working for you. I know I buy planners every year, and then I'm, middle of the year. Yeah, exactly. So what I do now is I just write it down. I write down what it is that I'm going to do for the day, and then that's it. So go get that. It's at Progress on Purpose Podcast on Instagram, okay? You may also need an accountability partner. You need someone who you can call upon and say, hey, these are the goals that I have for this month. And then let them know that you're going to check in with them periodically, just so that you can let them know where you are along your journey. And that's also really, really important because it allows you to now have somebody else on your back, kind of like, hey, you said you were going to start that YouTube channel. What happened? It's been, 15 days. Where are you along this process? Or, hey, you said you were going to, open this new business. How are you doing? Did you file your paperwork? Did you look up, your domain and do all the other stuff that you would need to do. Like, where are you along that process? So setting goals is really, really important, but just as important is accountability. We got to be accountable for what we say we're going to do. And then the third reason why we don't have what we want yet is because a lot of the times we can't find what we're looking for. And it's just as simple as that. We don't know what it is that we are looking for. And the thing about, or that I'm learning, and even this is another principle of the Bible, is that we have to have vision. We have to have even understanding about the vision. And we have to seek God for those things. The only way that we're going to be able to know what it is that we are looking for is if we spend time with God and ask Him. Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 1 through 2 says, I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart and watch to see what He will say to me and what I will answer when I'm corrected. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. Now, a lot of the time, we love to run to verse 2, write the vision, make it plain. Write the vision, make it plain. But the positioning is in verse 1. See, Habakkuk was waiting for God to speak. Ask yourself, when is the last time you waited on God and asked Him to speak? You asked for something and then you waited on that response, or you got in a presence or in a position to hear from God. That's so important, especially if you are trying to seek God for something that you want. You have to then wait for the answer. Put yourself in a position to be able to do that. I know here in my home, I made a space where I can go and get into the presence of God. And it's a small space, but it's my sacred space. And I try to find myself there as often as I can. Even sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go up and just sit and pray and meditate, and then take my journal and I'll write, what I hear or what I'm feeling. And that's really, really, really important. We all have a mission. We all have a set mission that we're supposed to do while we're here. And if we don't know it, we have to find out. We have to find out what it is that our purpose is. And then even once we do start to understand and learn our purpose, we still got to go back and find out step by step. We still got to go back and get direction, right? So that we can put it into action. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to talk about today. The reason why you don't have what you want is because you don't stick to what you ask for. Your goals, you may have goals, but you may not have that accountability piece. And without that accountability piece, it's going to be hard to stick to your goals. And you could either use self accountability through a checklist or some type of planner, or you can have someone else be your accountability, but you gotta have it. And then you also need to know what you are looking for, and the sure way to find out is to ask God. Okay, I do thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Progress on Purpose podcast. If you would like to continue being a part of this community of intentional, purposeful people living intentional, purposeful lives, kindly subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, please share this episode with someone else by hitting that share button on whatever listening platform you are listening on, because today's show was too good to keep to yourself, okay? Let us grow together. I love you guys. I hope that you keep making progress on purpose through intentional, purposeful living. I will see you next week. Take care.